Schultze here. Water temps, unfortunately, are on the rapid rise, and it is almost time for frogging. So we're gonna give you some smallmouth tips, a little prep to make your spring frogging as most excellent as it could possibly be. Flies are important, what you're throwing, but the delivery system, in my opinion, is the most important. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a modern fly line, something with a fairly powerful taper, something that'll deliver, but something that has a little bit of a rear end on it so that thing doesn't just totally collapse when it gets out 30 feet or so. So what I usually use is the Airflow power taper. Okay, so there's the power taper, then there's the flats power taper. There's a little difference in those, so pay attention to that when you're looking at them, and also what climate you're fishing in. So the tropical line works really good in the extreme heat. This line, the regular power, works pretty good for the majority of the season, and it's what I usually reach for. So just like the intermediate lines, you gotta kind of move them around a little bit, right? So the 8 weight is going to be going on a 7 weight, and the 9 weight is going to be going on the 8 weight. Okay, so when I'm frogging, I'm pretty much exclusively using an 8 weight rod. If you're throwing smaller frogs, you're fishing smaller waters, feel free to use a 7 weight, but the frogs that I choose to throw and we use most of the time usually require an 8 weight with a 9 weight line. So the 9 weight line in the Airflow comes in a couple different colors. The 9 weight line is going to come in at 272. So if you're familiar with fishing some of the competitors' lines, Scientific Anglers, Rio, that are aiming right at this, you're kind of looking at that 280 grain for an 8 weight, where this is going to be a 9 weight coming in at 272. So keep that in mind when you're making your purchase and you're figuring out what line works best with your particular rod. The one thing that's really neato about this line is the little haul zone in the back here. So what I was talking about with that the head being compact, short, powerful, if it just abruptly ends and goes right into that running line, when you stretch that line out and punch it out there, it kind of just falls. Where this particular line here, it's got that little haul zone there, 12 feet. Obviously, Airflow, when they're building these, they're thinking about durability. That's a spot in the line that's going to get a lot of wear, a lot of that's where your cracking would occur on a lot of lines. But also, it kind of acts as like a trailing think of a fireball, right? A fireball going through the air, something in a cartoon or whatnot. You got that kind of trailing, kind of the comet-like deal on that. That's what you got going on here. It's holding that energy, it's stabilizing that running line, and you're able to deliver it, and it's not just going to totally collapse, right? So this is the line that I choose, the Airflow Power Taper, 9 weight, 272 grain for frogging. Let's talk a little bit about flies. Obviously, hair bugs, right? Your standard Dahlberg diver style head. There's video out there called Hot Rod Froggin that we did years ago that you can check out. That's going to have show you the way that we kind of trick these flies out. But I'll give you a quick little under the hood look. We're going to use a flexible resin UV adhesive type deal on the bottom there. That's going to make the fly a little bit heavier, so it lands properly on its belly. We're going to sometimes put a little bit of lead, a little keel on that to aid in that as well. And then also you got the buoyancy of the hair kind of playing that balancing act with that, where that fly will plunge down, hold, and then kind of slowly rise up. If you're tying these for yourself and you're going to tie this kind of exact pattern, I like the nickel plated I think it's 8089 by Umpqua. The nickel plated NP 8089 is a really good choice for hooks. When this fly comes, again, check out that Hot Rod Froggin video, but there's definitely some modifications we do to this. I get rid of the weed guard, rip the crystal flash out of there, and then give this thing a dunk and some liquid floatant. So it takes a little bit of time to get these dialed in, but as you can see, this one's been around probably for 4 or 5 years, living in my box, catching fish, and it's nice and faded, and they usually last quite a bit unless you run into a pike. So that's one option. Just a big double barrel popper. is a great option, tied in like a frog color scheme with different saddle hackles there. Again, I'm using a little bit of lead on that to kind of stabilize and get that thing to land the right way, and also keep your line from twisting. If that doesn't have any weight, it'll twist in the air, and it'll twist when you're stripping it at times. So a little bit of weight. This is a beefed up hook on this one. This is a B10S. And as you'll see when I build the leaders, we're not screwing around with when it comes to the tippet for these flies. They're going to get a 20 pound usually. So build your own little double barrel popper. I believe that size large. Black, chartreuse, yellow, whatever you can come up with. And then this is a cool little design by Dahlberg. He actually gave me these heads. There's different densities in foam. So this is kind of a hard foam here. And this one here, same exact geometry, but it's kind of a soft rubber foam that actually has a little weight to it, and it sinks on the strip. So flies are up to you. You know, there's only so many deer in the woods, so I'm tending to rotate these through, and you know, using different flies on different days on particular pieces of water, just to kind of keep a nice little rotation going, keep them on their toes. So those are just the 3 frog patterns that I choose to fish most of the time. Just your basic popper, of course. You got the weight in there, and you know, build your own schlappen and rubber and have at it. But those are my 3 poppers that I use to imitate frogs around here. Froggin's coming, I guess, from a presentation standpoint. Kind of the similar rules kind of apply here as we do for streamer fishing. You're going to fish those flies on a 45-degree angle downstream. Usually frogging, you know, you get quick reaction from the fish. As soon as that thing hits the water, they're on it. They're going to hit it. So you're gonna move pretty quick when you're doing this style of fishing. The boat's gonna be moving. You're gonna be moving on foot. You're gonna be covering water, looking for very aggressive fish. So 45 to the bank, bloop, let it sit, bloop, let it sit, pick it up, get it out, and pick your next target. So very fun. I guess you would call it, what do they call it? Power fishing. You know, in the gear world, you're kind of moving through, covering water, and you're getting some of the most amazing strikes of the year from the smallmouth bass on the frogs. So frog fishing, I'm stoked. It's coming very soon, and hopefully these tips get you dialed in. And next we'll tie leader and show you how we put this whole system together for spring frog.